Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Sheep Get Sheared podcast, home of people, politics, and popular culture. I'm your host, Austin Creed, and you are listening to the morning show. So my friends, as I was preparing for the show this morning, I realized that this is actually the 200th episode of this show. Crazy, right? Honestly, I can barely believe it myself. And you know why? I say that? Because, as much as I love to preach becoming the best version of yourself, which I firmly believe, and staying disciplined and keeping your nose to the grindstone, I'm not a perfect man. I'm not perfect at all. In fact, you could argue that it's because I'm so flawed that I've found these things out the hard way. And I attempt to practice everything that I preach, and I go out of my way every day to be an example of my own personal philosophy. And it's doing this that I realized that it is discipline that determines your destiny. And what I mean by that is discipline is not always fun, but it's necessary. There are so many distractions in the world. Let's just be real, okay? There are so many distractions in the world. There are so many things, people, places, all these different detours that we can take every single day that can take us off the path that we chose for ourselves or that we want to walk. And if you're a younger guy, especially, I know what we struggle with. We struggle with something that Napoleon Hill discusses in his book, Outwitting the Devil, and that I discuss at length in my book, Biblical Bachelor, and it's this. Sex, we're consumed by it. Whether it's the pursuit, the indulgence, the thought of indulgence, the thought of pursuit, it consumes so much of our psyche, and it's something we need to control and we need to put to work for us. Because otherwise, we're going to have to spend energy working against it. No, I know. It's very easy for people to be like, yeah, that's a struggle for you, but it's not a struggle for me. Come on, get off it. We all know that's just the reality. And older gentlemen will tell you this. They'll tell you that, if they're honest anyway, they'll tell you that this is a real issue. And they'll tell you that as time goes on, it gets easier. And it's in our youth, in our teens, and early 20s, and really through our almost all of our 20s, really, that we're the most prone to making humongous mistakes that could destroy or derail us for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Whether it's child support, damages to our health, whether it's losing out on compound interest that we could have made earlier. Oh yeah, compound interest is a real thing. And the earlier that you start investing, and the earlier that you start enacting certain policies in your life, the more you'll see those policies pay off, but only if you start earlier. You have charts online about compound interest when it comes to money, but money is merely an idea. It is a reward for the services that you render, and your services can also expand, by the way. You put in work today and tomorrow and for the next 5 years, you could be reaping the rewards of the last 5 years for the next 50 if you do your sowing right. Oh yeah. And it all comes down to discipline because look, I'll be honest, I'll be the first one to admit that I'm not perfect, dude. In fact, yesterday I was getting distracted by some of the girls in my rotation, and that's not their fault, it's my fault. I allowed it. I shouldn't have, but I did. That's why I didn't do the evening show yesterday. I'll be the first to admit it. Oh yeah, I'm not perfect. Not at all. But I'll tell you this. It's really, really easy to fall into a cycle of repeat mistakes. And the more you repeat the same mistakes, the more you're wasting your time. If you identify the mistakes, you identify the weak links in your own chain, you need to get rid of it. You need to purify it. Ideally, you get it to work for you, but that's the next level stuff. You can attempt to do that if you want, and I would encourage it. Just be aware that it's not easy, and also be aware that it's really even easier for it to derail you and give you the illusion of control, which is even worse than knowing that you're not in control. My friends, when I preach discipline, discipline is important in all facets of your life. However, there's one avenue of your life, especially if you're a younger dude. Look, I could grasp straws for the younger ladies out here for sure. The problem is y'all are a different breed, the ladies in the audience, if you're listening to the show. Y'all are a totally different breed because, look, as much as we don't want to admit this, we're not gonna lie, okay? Ladies, you use this against us all the time. Oh yeah, please stop lying. Look, I can hear it already. I have the best stethoscope in the business. I can already hear that there's some lady who's listening to the show, and she's like, no, that's not true. It's a lie. We would never do that. Or your girlfriend, your wife, whoever. No. Girls know about this reality that we as men are pretty much obsessed with sex, especially at younger ages. They know this. Why do you think they leverage it against you all the time? Oh yeah, that's what that's called, by the way. You ever heard that you've been with a chick and she's like, you pay for dinner, you pay for the date as a whole, you spend a lot of time with her, all that kind of stuff? That's payment. That is payment. That's called leveraging. It's called leveraging the vagina against you. Oh yes. Yes, that's what that is. Because they know that's what you want. They know that if they didn't have the box, then you wouldn't be spending time with them, you wouldn't be spending money, and they know these things. They use it against you. So don't let people use it against you. And I know I say this as if I've mastered it. No, I haven't. I'm not perfect, like I said. We've established this. But I realize that it's happening. I see it all the time. In fact, I saw it yesterday when I realized, I was like, oh no, you've got to be joking. I fell for the okie doke again. Yeah, I fell for it again. I'm not gonna go into details. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna air people's personal business in the streets. But suffice it to say, I ended up getting left holding the bag, which is not normal. This is not normal for me. But it was necessary because it reminded me of, wait a minute, I'm getting a little too far afield here. I had such a tight circle that this didn't normally happen to me. And so now when it happened again, I said, wow, I'm letting myself, the devil's outwitting me, and I gotta outwit him. He's coming back in, and he's trying to take control of my life and turn me into a drifter again. And I won't allow myself to drift. For those of you who don't know what a drifter is someone who lacks purpose, they lack direction, and they're like a couch surfer. You ever met somebody in your life or seen any movies about that one bum who has no direction, no purpose, no education, no job, no nothing, and they're kind of just couch surfing off all their relatives and their friends? Yeah, that's what a drifter is, except in their own head, not necessarily in reality. They're just along for the ride. Picture somebody just going on a lazy river at the amusement park. You ever see those lazy rivers at the water park? Instead of swimming in the competitive pool, they're out here just on a lazy river just drifting, and they wonder why they're not in shape. They wonder why they're not winning. They wonder why they're unhappy, and they wonder why they're getting sunburned and getting crispy and deep fried in life, and that's why. That's what a drifter is. And I'm not going to let anyone, including myself, influence me into becoming a drifter again. I was a drifter for a while, and I'm never going back there ever again. It's so easy, by the way. It's not always a conscious choice. It's the little things in your life that creep up on you. And I don't want you to fall prey to your own desires. Because it's so easy, I speak from experience, it's so easy to focus on the short-term pleasures instead of focusing on long-term fulfillment. If you can focus on long-term fulfillment, your entire life will change. Your mindset will change. And the most important tip that I can give you on how to change your life and help develop this discipline is to take yourself out of environments that are likely to inhibit your growth. What do I mean by this? Well, for example, if you struggle with sexual discipline, as I do, that's why I preach sexual transmutation. That's why I preach these things, because I have to use them myself, and I'm actively in the trenches on this issue. The best thing you can do is say, hey, I'm not going to go to the club. I'm not going to go to the bar. I'm not going to go to parties. I'm not going to do these things. Why? Because it sets me up to fail. Whether it's substances, slutty chicks, or all these things are environment pusher. They're stimuli that will push you into act and behave in a certain way that's only going to inhibit you. You're setting yourself up to swim upstream, and then you wonder why you don't make it. Don't do that. Don't swim upstream and then get down on yourself for failing. Don't swim upstream. It's exhausting. And you're going to spend all your energy fighting yourself instead of working with yourself to achieve your goals. That's why I say that discipline determines your destiny. You are the controller of your destiny. If you have discipline, you will reach where you want to go. That doesn't mean you will always succeed. It means you get back on the horse when you fall off, instead of staying off for a week, staying off for 2 weeks. You get back on when you fall off, you learn why you fell off, and you don't let it happen to you again. That is the key, is learning. You cannot avoid losing the occasional battle, but that does not mean you forfeit the war and surrender. That means that you adjust your strategy accordingly so you can continue to fight and eventually win. That is the point. I know I can come across like someone who has it all together. I don't. And that's why I do this show. Just like a pastor's not a perfect person. Why do you think they preach? They're not perfect, but they're always attempting to be better people. And that's what I attempt to be every day. It's a better person, a more informed person. And I hope that this message reached you today, because I know it's tough. I don't live in a gilded cage where I'm not surrounded by, girls who dress a certain way and dudes who act a certain way. And people who consume stuff I'm not in a gilded cage away from all that stuff. I am at an American college. That is ground zero for people who have no idea what they're doing, have time on their hands, and make very, very short-sighted decisions. Trust me, as much as I would like to pretend like I'm different than everybody in that regard, sometimes I am reminded of my own humanity, and it's very humbling, by the way. As much as I have been through in my life, whether it's the military and the various mistakes that I've made, sometimes I have to be reminded sometimes of why my beliefs are the way they are and why I operate the way that I operate. Sometimes I need a friendly reminder. And sometimes it comes at me in a not very friendly way, as much as I hate to admit that. But my friends, please learn from my mistakes. I don't want you to make your own mistakes out here if you can avoid it. Trust me, you'll be plenty of that as time goes on. But I really hope that you learned something from this today, and that you got the motivation that you need to know that you're not alone and that you will win. It just takes time, consistency, and the belief in yourself that you can make it. My friends, God bless you on this very beautiful day. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. Let's get out here and let's win. Let's outwit the devil and let's reach our destiny. Peace out.